How many times have you started the new year with big fitness goals only to feel you've already lost momentum by February? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone and you're not stuck. What if the key to staying on track isn't about pushing harder, but instead shifting your mindset and creating habits that truly work for you? Welcome back to Pleasure in the Pause, a podcast dedicated to empowering midlife women to connect to their bodies, pleasure, and power in perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. I am your host, Gabriella Espinosa, and it is my pleasure to be here with you today. We're stepping into the last week of January, inching towards February, often the time when those shiny New Year's resolutions start to fade. But instead of focusing on what didn't go as planned, let's flip the script. This is a chance to reassess, realign, and build a fitness routine that feels good, fits your life, and lasts well beyond the calendar hype. Today's conversation is all about creating sustainable and empowering habits that keep you moving forward, whether it's January, February, or any other time of the year. We'll talk about setting meaningful intentions instead of rigid goals, bouncing back after you've fallen off track, and how to embrace strength training as a tool for confidence, health, and longevity. To help us dive into this, I'm thrilled to welcome back to the show, Kelley Workman. Kelley is an integrative nutrition health coach, master personal trainer, and yoga and meditation teacher with a wealth of experience helping women design routines that honor their bodies and fit into their lives. Let's welcome Kelley to the show. Welcome back to the show, Kelley.
Thank you for having me. Nice to see you.
So great to see you again. You were with us at the end of the year talking about navigating grief and establishing habits around the holidays. And I thought I'd invite you back because, as we all know, the end of January is a time when people start to fall off track, their New Year's fitness resolutions. And I want to focus, instead of what went wrong, I want to flip the script with you and use your expertise to reassess, realign, and really help our listeners create a plan that truly works for them. You are a integrative nutrition health coach, a master personal trainer, a yoga and meditation coach, as well as a grief facilitator, as I said earlier, with a wealth of experience helping women build routines that honor their bodies and fit into their lives.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's a great topic because we are at the end of the January. And I think a lot of people start, falling off or not sure what to do next. So I think it's a great topic.
So many people struggle to stick with their fitness resolutions, especially at this time of year. I think, what do they call it? Quitters January or something like that. Why do you think this happens, particularly for midlife women?
Well, I think in general, people get really excited at the end of the year. They've had a big holiday season, a lot of cocktails and foods, and they're feeling kind of guilty. So January 1 rolls around, they set all these very lofty goals versus just choosing one small thing to change, right? They choose too many things at one time and no one can sustain that, right? You try to go 7 days a week and you barely make it one, then you feel like you're not doing it. And it just becomes this cascade of events. It just bite off way too much that they shouldn't do at one time.
Yeah, that was definitely me. That was definitely me. I was like, I'm going to do all the things. And how can we approach this challenge, right? Of like, okay, I've fallen off track, with more self-compassion instead of guilt.
Well, and I like what you said earlier about honoring your body, right?
Mm.
We speak mainly to midlife women, but I also do a lot of work with midlife men if I'm training their wife, right? So everyone needs to just honor where they are at their age, at their capability, at their income level, their job level, all those things. Honor where you are first and just accept it. And maybe you want to lose 10 pounds or you want to gain muscle or become more flexible. Choose one thing that you really want to do and just focus on doing really well at that. I firmly believe everybody just needs a win. Pick something that is not too difficult, but not too easy that you can win at. You want to get more flexible hamstrings? Do these exercises for 1 month. You'll see flexibility. It will give you the motivation to, I could do something else. Maybe I can learn to squat better or whatever it is that you're wanting to do, but just being true to yourself and honoring where you are and not trying to be something that you're not. If you're 60 and you've never lifted a weight, you're not going to all of a sudden go become a power lifter. No doubt you could work up into it. But you're not going to go into a powerlifting gym and start, powerlifting, 150 pounds immediately, right? Honor where you are and start there.
Yeah. I love the idea of celebrating small wins because our bodies are truly amazing and they do adapt to change. If we start those small positive changes, they will adapt and they will, I think, show to us what they're capable of. If someone feels like they've fallen off track, what's the first step to getting back on?
Well, I would say they should probably reassess in January when they went through and set these intentions or goals or whatever they call them. Why did I choose these? And what was the meaning of the purpose behind them? I want to lose weight. I need to save money, whatever they were. And let's decide which one. I like the ABC kind of rule. Pick which one of these 10 you did or 5 that you chose. What is the A? What is the B? What is the C? And just start tackling them. What's the most important to you? And just focus on that one thing. You don't want to give up what you chose because you chose it for good reasons. But maybe you need to choose one per month. Maybe you have 10. That means each month you try to tackle one of these ideas, right? Not all 10 at one time. Maybe you've got some health crisis. Maybe you're pre-diabetic, right? And so maybe your weight has to be number 1, okay? So maybe that's what you do. So maybe you're a soda drinker. Maybe you commit to the first month, I'm not going to have any more sodas. I'm going to replace sodas with something else or whatever your vice may be, right? So look at it from that standpoint. If you've got something really pressing, that would be your A. And then what's one thing in that A that you can change? Just one, not 10.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to eat salad every day and never have a Coke again. That's not going to work. Pick something easy and go from there.
That's great. You mentioned whether we choose goals or intentions. Why don't we talk about that? What's the difference between setting a goal and setting an intention when it comes to fitness?
Well, in my opinion, when people set goals, these rigid, non-flexible, unbending, make or break, black and white type of idea, right? I'm going to be able to deadlift 200 pounds or whatever your goal is. But there's things that happen in our life as we age, whether it's we're taking care of our parents, so we can't devote as much time. Maybe we fall ill. Maybe our kids have an issue. We need to help them with something. There's so many things in your life at midlife that can stifle your goal. If you have an intention to lift weights 3 times a week, and maybe you're hitting it consistently 1 to 2 times, you need to be okay with that until whatever in your life is holding you back, because it happens to all of us, allows you to be able to dedicate more time to that intention. It's just a fluid idea that's out there that you would like to accomplish, but it's not so rigid. So, ride or die, hard or fast. There's a lot of movement that can happen with that intention.
I sometimes like to align my intentions with my big why to sort of make it a little bit more meaningful and just align with my own value system. Like right now, my big why is just becoming strong. But again, it doesn't have to mean lifting my weight in weights, right?
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to mean hitting the gym hard 3 or 4 times a week. For me, it's more of a feeling. Okay, as long as I did something today that made me feel strong, then that's a win for me. So I think that aligning that intention with your big why instead of, again, making it these hard line goals. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you because I think that setting the intention out there with whatever is aligning to your life and recognizing that intentions is just that, it's your intention. But we all know things happen in the middle of your life that may skew your intention a little way right or left, and you set the straight and narrow path. So I think that the intention just gives you the leeway to change your mind or to make a pivot in the goal. Maybe your goal for you is you want to become stronger this year. Maybe by the time June comes around, you're like, you know what? I've been squatting 75 pounds. I think I want to try to squat 100, right? So your intention can change as things progress or degress if you've got an injury or whatever. Goals are so rigid. They look at them like, oh, I didn't do this goal. I didn't succeed. And it's very demeaning and it's not very rewarding when you don't hit those goals, right? When you put that intention out there, you have some fluidity to it that you can just kind of roll with the punches as you are moving toward that intention.
Yeah, I love that. I love that fluidity. That's That's one of my main intentions this year is just having more flow and ease in all aspects of my life. Definitely not being so hard on myself if I don't make it to the gym. But yeah, it's just sticking to my big why. What is one thing I can do today to feel strong? And there are so many things. We're going to talk about so many things we can do to feel strong. I think another thing that happens with the start of the year and why we may fall off track. We're making these intentions or goals, right? When we're on vacation, when we're on holiday and we have like all the time in the world. And then we get back to real life come January, gonna go back to work. The kids go back to school. We have all of our busy schedules. And you often hear, I just don't have time to go to the gym. I just don't have time to work out. And we truly are busy, right? How do you encourage women to prioritize fitness, even with a busy schedule?
Primarily, we all have the same 24 hours in the day, right? We all agree to that. And regardless of how busy our job is or our life is. So if you're one of those people that you've got, 100 hats that you're wearing, you need to look at your schedule, find an hour, maybe once a week or twice a week. Just start there. Even if maybe in your schedule, you can devote 1 hour. Maybe you need 15 minutes drive time, 1 hour at the place you're going to exercise and 15 minutes home, right? Maybe an hour and a half. Every week, block it off like it's a meeting with yourself and start there. Because there are a lot of people that, especially single parents, they don't have a lot of support and their kids are in a million activities and their job is very demanding. So just even if you're exercising at home with small home equipment, dedicate 30 minutes, block it off, tell your family, tell your people, hey, this is my 30 minutes. Please don't come knocking on the door. Don't come in down the basement or wherever you are, right? Just dedicate that in your schedule. I do want to add, you don't need to say, I'm sorry, because there's always going to be someone coming up asking, but I need this really bad. Don't feel guilty. If you don't take care of yourself now and schedule it like it's important, no one else is going to do it for you. You have to make the time. Even half an hour twice a week would get you started.
Yeah, put it in the calendar, put it on the phone, put the reminder in, and really prioritize you and your fitness, because we do it for everything and everyone else.
Yes, exactly. We do. And that's the thing, is that we feel bad. We feel guilty. I don't know a woman that I've ever talked to, that I've ever trained, doesn't feel guilty, calls me, I can't, my child is sick today, or this happens, or this happens. The thing is that that's always going to happen. That's never not going to happen. And so even if you get 15 minutes to stretch, I know that, Gabriella, you live in a beautiful home and you like to go out on your back porch for your yoga in the morning or your meditation, right? Even if you've got 15 to 20 minutes, schedule it and do it consistently. Number one thing is just be consistent. Even if you can only give yourself 15 minutes a week, start there and do it every single week. Eventually, it's going to become more.
Let's talk about accountability. You talk about, working with your clients. You're a health coach, and I know health coaches are a great way to have that accountability. So tell us, what role does accountability play in staying consistent, and how can women build this support system around their fitness goals, either with a health coach or, how else can we do that?
Well, and hiring someone is kind of on the extreme, right? Because it's expensive to hire a trainer or a health coach or anything like that. So my first rule of thumb for most people that I talk to, even if I just have one session with them, is like, look, you need to surround yourself with people that are trying to do what you would like to do. Okay. So if you're trying to do positive things in your health wise, in your diet and your exercise, you're not going to be going to happy hour every day at 4:30 before you go home. It just says those two things do not align together, right? So you've got to find groups, friends, classes, whatever, make new opportunities for yourself with the goals that you want to have. That's number one, because I've seen time and time again, women, they get in these groups and they're so excited and they're going to the gym, and next thing you know, they're going to happy hour all the time. So then all of a sudden the gym time's turned into 15 minutes of exercise and let's go to the bar for wine. That doesn't align with what you want. So you can't be around that kind of people, because you can't get where you want to go if you're not doing things with other people that they want to do the same thing that you're doing, be in the same place, right? You can't have someone that only likes fried food and you're trying to eat super healthy, right? This doesn't go together.
So having that accountability buddy, a workout partner at your local gym, or maybe even a virtual community. What do you think? Does that work?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think, a lot of people take classes. And so I always start there. I'm a big weight train believer. So I'm not pressing that, but it would be great if you go to the gym and hire a trainer, right? Start weightlifting, find other like-minded women in your area to do that with. But the thing is that if you're going to places like F45 or otherwise, it's just find women in those little clique groups that are exercising. They're just getting started, maybe like you. Maybe they're just starting to figure out, oh, I should have more protein. What does that look like? Find people that you can have conversations with that are doing similar things to you, right? Or that you would like to do. And many areas you can do that. Go to your yoga studio if you love yoga, go to Pilates, go to the gym, take a class at the gym, maybe depending on what gym you're a member of. And there's a lot of opportunities just to meet new people. My rule of thumb is always talk to everyone. So you're trying something new, introduce yourself and talk to them, because most likely they are on a similar journey or have been on your journey, exactly what you want to do. It's exactly, and those are the people you need in your court to have coffee dates with and to do things that are positive to help you reach your goals.
And that speaks to, the importance of creating connection and community in midlife and really putting yourself out there. Yeah. Introducing yourself to someone in a class, maybe asking them when they come to that class, or offering to have a smoothie or a coffee or whatever you want to have after class. Really just having the courage to put yourself out there and establish that sense of connection and community around your fitness, I feel is so, so important. That really motivates me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting to do it, it just makes total sense. Be around people that are doing what you want to do, right? What is the old adage? Fake it till you make it, right? You go to this yoga class and someone's doing this amazing pose. After class, walk up and be like, wow, I'm new here and I saw you do this. Is amazing. How long have you been taking this class or whatever, right? Just start a conversation, because if you're looking to really pivot, it's very hard in midlife, I think, for men and women, because you're so stuck in your same routine of what you're doing, right? And you're afraid, I don't want to be rejected, all of those things. Listen, you're all there sweating it out together. You all have the same goals because you're in the same class, right? You're in the same location. Your goals must be similar to some degree. And just putting it out there and just see what gets back. Be open to the information that comes back to you and act on it. I love your smoothie idea. I mean, how many yoga studios have a juice land next to them? All of them, right? So you just never know unless you put yourself out there and find out. I think you have a lot of success when you do that. You're happier because you've broken that barrier down too. And you feel like, oh, I can do this. This person's doing it too. They're on a similar journey or path that I'm on. And it really motivates you.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Sometimes we think we're the only ones, right, that have the issues that we have in terms of like wanting to get fitter or wanting to lose a little bit of weight or gain more strength or flexibility, but everyone is there for the same reason, right? And there is that sense of like collective kind of consciousness. I feel that kind of collective energy that kind of also buoys you in your journey. So I love that idea. You mentioned strength training. Why don't we remind our audience? There's so much talk right now about the importance of strength training for midlife women. Why is strength training so important for midlife women, and what unique benefits does it offer? Just give us the basics.
Well, besides, I know it's new to most people, but this is really not a new phenomenon, right? We just didn't accept it. So I'm going to say the first thing is you just look better in your clothes. Let's just say that. When your body composition changes, you got a little bit more muscle on your body, you look amazing and you feel amazing. You walk taller, you stand taller, your posture's better. Besides all the other, of course, benefits of your bone health and strength, Alzheimer's, dementia health, it helps that, having more muscle on your body. All of these things work together, your balance, your coordination. It's just amazing. And it really doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much weight training to achieve these goals. I think that sometimes women in midlife especially think, oh, I've got to be in the gym, 5 days a week, and you must work out 7 days a week. And it really does not take that much. You're actually overtraining to be in the gym that much, right? You need to have 3 to 4 days a week, have some rest, have some stretching and yoga type classes also in between it. Weight training is just unparalleled to anything else we can do for our bodies and our minds.
Absolutely. So you talk about 3 days a week. Let's set this up for our listeners. Like, what would a strength training routine or program look like? Take us through a week of your clients that you work with.
So I'm just going to go for a very basic. I'm pretending you have 1 hour to spend in the gym 3 times a week. Okay. So you're new to lifting weights. You're new to the gym. You either hire someone or work it on your own. I would just do the very basic. I would break it up. First day, I would work out my upper body, whatever that looks like, 6 to 8 different exercises, 3 to 4 sets per exercise. I would skip the next day, maybe do a yoga class or something in between just to keep active, right? The next day, I may do a HIIT workout, which is maybe like I do a HIIT class or I do a whole body workout, which means I use lighter weights and I'm doing more rapid succession. The next day, day 4, I would do some other kind of mobilization workout or a yoga class again, or maybe I'm going to walk a 5-mile track or something to stay active. And then the last workout day, maybe I do a lower body workout, whatever that looks like to you. Again, 6 to 8 different exercises, 3 to 4 sets per exercise, depending where you are in your journey. And just leave it at that. One day upper, one day lower, one day whole body, and just go from there. And the days that you really focus on your upper body and lower body, I'm trying to lift enough weight with perfect technique to cause muscle soreness, right? That's why we want to rest in between. Because in the gym, we're tearing down our muscles. We rest and we feed ourselves to help them grow and get a little bit thicker. They're not going to get super thick. We're not guys. We don't have it in us to get super thick, right? And then the day of your whole body, you're kind of getting cardio and a little bit of weight training also. And then you go back to the last day and just try to lift, with intention and heavy enough, but keeping our form really good. That's a good typical week.
Yeah, those are great suggestions. And I see that you're incorporating all these key aspects of fitness that I've learned are so, so important. So you're incorporating strength, you're incorporating mobility, you're incorporating balance, right? Possibly with the yoga or Pilates, and you're incorporating a little bit of cardio, those 4 things. Would you say those 4 things are really key to a fitness program?
Absolutely. And don't forget the day of rest. I mean, the day of rest, you might go for a 1 or 2 mile walk, nothing real aggressive, because your body does need the downtime, right? If you've done a great job in the gym and a great job with your mobility workout and your recovery, you need some downtime to let it all just heal up before you hit it again and try to get stronger the next week.
That's great advice. Thanks so, so much. And you mentioned earlier about how you just feel better and look better when you start a fitness program. I definitely feel it improves my body confidence. And with that body confidence, this show is all about staying connected to your body and to your pleasure. I feel fitness is such a great way to stay connected to our bodies and really allowing that to ripple into other aspects, into our relationships, into our work, into our creativity. Do you find with the clients that you work with that staying committed to a fitness program helps spark connection to other aspects of their lives as well?
Oh, Gabriella, every single woman that I work with, every single woman before started weight training, even if they're not started losing so much weight, but they're getting stronger and they're doing a little bit more weight they did 6 months ago and they're just feeling better. Every single one of those will report walking around their house naked in front of their husband. They report doing these things where before they were like, I was so ashamed. So even if their body composition's not changing dramatically, it's the fact that, oh, maybe I'm not going to need a walker. Maybe I will. My posture's improved. So my breathing is better. My smile is better. I don't mind getting out of the shower. I don't have to be covered all the time around my husband. That is the number one thing I hear. And really, it blew my mind because I didn't realize how many people felt that way until I started working with midlife women. I realized, wow, this one thing could just change your whole perspective on all of your pleasure aspects. I for sure say that. It's for every single person. I couldn't say one person it's not been a positive for.
I love that so much. You mentioned the word body composition. When you say that, exactly does that mean?
So using an InBody is probably the least expensive way to do it, or a DEXA scan, which is a little more expensive way to do it. And that's really just showing what your muscle mass versus body fat versus bone weight, water weight, all those things are in those scans, okay? Some are a little more accurate than the other, but they're both good, starts to do one of those type of tests. And what I mean by that is the majority of women that I work with, especially if they've never really worked out, maybe they've just been Orange Theory girls or whatever, they love to cycle class or something, but they've never actually weight trained. When I work with them, surprisingly, most of their body fat is very high, For someone who weighs 130, 140 pounds, their body fat is really enormous compared to their muscle mass. So what I mean by that is once you start, first I fix that you're not eating enough, because most women do not eat enough food. They do not eat the right quantities of food or the right aspects of it. Start eating more protein, start lifting weights. They're able to keep their muscle mass they have and even sometimes increase it significantly while their body uses their body fat for fuel, right? While they're working out, while they're all these things. It's always been a thing back in the 80s and 90s, low fat, don't eat this, don't eat that, and do tons of cardio. But what they didn't tell everyone is that was really burning your muscle because you weren't eating enough protein to feed the muscle. So you think the machine's telling you, oh, I burned this much calories and this much fat, but really you were just burning all your muscle, not much fat. When you start weight training and start feeding those muscles after you lift weights, your body shape changes dramatically. Women feel it in their bra size and their pant size, in the waist of their pants. And almost immediately within a month to 6 weeks of doing it consistently, they almost always notice a change in their body comp. Their body fat goes down a little bit and their muscle mass comes up a little thicker. They may not lose a pound of actual weight on a real scale. They may weigh the exact same, but the way their body shape has changed.
Yeah, I've heard muscle described as a fat burning organ.
Yes.
Right. So, and I definitely have seen that in my weight training journey. It's incredible, right? You just start the weight training, you let go of the fear that you're going to bulk up, right? Because that's one of the misconceptions around weight training, that we're going to get bigger or we're going to get bulkier. But what that muscle is doing is burning fat, and that helps redistribute your body composition. This in-body scan that you mentioned, where can we get an in-body scan? Can you just talk us through where we do that?
So a lot of gyms have this machine. It's one you just stand on barefoot and you hold your hands on little sensors. And it basically just sending electrical currents through the water in your body, and it's bouncing off what's muscle, what's fat. It's pretty accurate. I've done both. I've done in-body scans and I've done a DEXA. Any gym, a lot of doctor's office have it. People that are taking GLP-1s, typically the doctor prescribing those medications for them usually have an in-body machine in their office. I don't know one in Houston anyway that doesn't have one, because you really need to be monitoring how much muscle is on your body versus body fat, right? Because you need to be losing the body fat and gaining more muscle. Kind of the standard would be an MRI. So below that is like a DEXA scan. They're not outrageously expensive. There's a place, Composition ID, you can get your DEXA scan, your VO2 max, and your metabolism done for $300. And maybe you want to go every 6 months and have this done, or every year if you're on this journey, right? I would think the DEXA gives you more information that you can use consistently, okay? I don't believe in weighing myself on a scale. And none of my clients, I tell you, never weigh yourself, because it doesn't do you any good. It's going to make you feel sad. One day you're 5 pounds up, one day you're 5 pounds lighter, right? It doesn't do you any good. But when you get a DEXA, this is your starting point. Then you work for 6 months, eating your protein, lifting weights, go back and get another DEXA, see where you are, what adjustments need to be made. This 2 or 3 pounds every day doesn't really mean anything. It's water weight, it's food, it's illness, it's whatever, So those tests are pretty accurate. The in-body is also pretty accurate, and it's usually free at wherever you are, at a gym or doctor's office or whatever like that.
Okay, so it's an in-body scan. And you recommend doing it every 6 months or more frequently?
We're doing the in-body like at a gym or a doctor. You could do that every month, right? It doesn't cost you anything. But if you're going to go the DEXA route, I would think every 6 months if you're committed. Now, I'm speaking to someone who is committed and consistent, and for 6 months, they're going to do what they need to do. There's no, I'm too busy. They're going to keep doing it, because then you're going to see a real difference in month 1 to month 6 on that DEXA. If you're someone who's got some bone issues, bone health issues, osteoporosis, osteopenia, or something of that nature, you will see a difference in your DEXA, okay, if you get the scan done and you're doing everything consistently. So those are a little more accurate for that person that, is determined, I'm consistent, I'm not going to stop to do that.
Yeah, what I find about the DEXA scan as well as the in-body scan is that you see, even though you may not be physically seeing results on the outside, you are seeing results on the inside. So your body is slowly rearranging itself, building more muscle, maybe losing more fat. You may not see it on the scale, right? Because you don't
Right.
always see it on the scale. But it also allows you to appreciate the work that you're putting into your workouts. And it takes a little bit of time, right? Some people fall off track from their fitness goals because they're not seeing the results on the scale in terms of weight, or maybe they still can't get into the pair of jeans that they were wanting to. How much time should we give ourselves to see true results with a fitness training program?
I think 6 months
Okay.
is a good window because you will have a day that you're sick one day and you don't feel like doing something. You'll have a day where you have an emergency and you've got to go check on your parent that you're taking. There will be these little hiccups in 6 months, but that's enough of a window. If you're truly being consistent, you need to be honest with yourself. Because I've had people that I've worked with, oh, it's not working. It's, this and that. But when you go through and you look at their schedule, they're actually not really being consistent like they say they are. So you need to be in the right headspace to be honest with yourself. And I think if you do it honestly, 6 months, you're just going to see results that you're never going to go back the other way. Right. But 1 month, I do not believe 1 month is enough. Now, if you're someone that is doing a GLP-1 and you've got 400 pounds, right, and you need to lose 200 pounds, well, in a month, you're going to see a pretty marked difference for that, right? Pretty big difference. But if you're someone who's just trying to redistribute your body composition, maybe gain 5 pounds of muscle, lose 5 pounds of fat, your weight's going to stay really the same in that situation. In 6 months window, you're going to be a strong woman and you're going to be so happy you waited, not this little bitty baby, nothing changed or I went backwards or whatever, you really need a good window of consistency.
Okay. That's great. Great advice. So we're at the end of January. We're only a month in, right? So everyone who's listening, who's thinking of giving up, you still have 5 months to go. So how do you keep people motivated for that period of time?
I love it whenever every month, why don't you set a new thing you want to try? I'm a big believer, and most people that I work with are 55, 50 and older. And I'm a big believer in trying something new. So pretend you've been weight training and you're going to this one yoga studio that you love or this one Pilates. So next month, why don't you give this new studio that opened a try, right? Or a new class you've never been to. Switch up the places that you're going to do these things. It keeps your brain guessing, keeps your mind guessing. It keeps it fresh and new. So if you're someone that's not just in love with working out, which a lot of people are not in love with it, they're just doing it for the health benefits. They would rather not do it, but they're doing it for better longevity. So try a new studio, try a new trainer, just try something different for the next month. And then the following month, try a new place. I mean, most of us live in pretty urban areas. And if we're doing it like on a home studio to where we're using YouTube or whatever, maybe you work out with one trainer on YouTube. So the next month, try a different one. And it's going to feel weird at first, trying something new. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be that little like, oh, I don't want to do it. Go back to what's comfortable. Just trust me. Doing something new each month, changing it up will keep it fresh and new and you'll want to keep going. You won't give up because it's new and it's fresh and it's exciting. Like dating someone new, it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, our bodies love novelty in all aspects of our lives, right?
Yeah.
And if we are for some reason homebound, can't get to the gym, say we just recently had some snow days here in Texas, or I was recently looking after my mother, 24/7 and couldn't get to a gym or a class. How do we set ourselves up for success if we are at home or like we're busy and we can't manage to leave the house to get to the gym in between work meetings at home? How do we set up ourselves for success at home? What tools, what equipment could we have at home so that we get some of that fitness in during the day while we're at home?
I think my best suggestion for this question is maybe on a day that's a little bit slower paced for you. Pretend that's a Sunday afternoon. Go ahead and start going through your YouTube, right? If you don't have one, get the app, whatever on your phone. Just look up workout over 55, women who lift weights, just whatever you want to put in YouTube and start looking. So have some people that you enjoy their workouts. You've watched them. You may not have done them all, but you've watched them. You kind of feel connected. Oh, she's similar to me. You read her comments below because there's probably 10,000 people on YouTube doing different workouts of all variations. Okay. Have some favored, some that you follow. So when that day comes up, maybe you're somewhere like you were with your mom, you didn't have any weights. Maybe you follow someone on YouTube that always does just body weight workouts, right? And you really like her shtick. You like the comments under her pictures. People are very positive. She's helping them. So then that day, you'll know, oh, I'm going to go do this one. And you click on it and you got 20 minutes and you go do that. Same thing. Maybe you've got one on here that does just home workouts with little weights, 5, 10, 15-pound dumbbells they have at home. Maybe they have a step at home. You have a few pieces of equipment. So then you follow this person too and you like their workouts. I think you have to prepare yourself for those days, because to do it on the fly makes it very difficult to stick to. So a day that you kind of, I'm on an airplane maybe, right? I have time on the airplane. I'm going to go through YouTube and start looking at some workouts, see who I like. Oh, I like the way this lady looks. Let's see what her shtick is, and just start learning who they are now. So when you need that backup plan, it's already done. There's no excuse. You've got 4 or 5 people there, videos saved. Just pick one out and do it. Do it from your phone. And there's no reason now in the day and age of technology, there's not a reason you can't find some kind of exercise to do if you really want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, YouTube is a great resource. This podcast is on YouTube. So if you're watching us on YouTube, when you finish watching us, go and do your search. Fitness for women over 50.
Body weight search. You can do, home gym search, women who work out. Like there'll be 1,000 different people that have these niches that will fit something that you like. And there's not one size fits all. So I could give you 10 names and you might like none of them, right? Yeah. You need to go on and see what you think. And that way you'll do them.
Yeah, that's great advice. You mentioned nutrition earlier. It plays such a key role in supporting our strength training and fitness. What should midlife women focus on to support their fitness intentions?
Yeah, well, I think this is just the same thing as weight training. It's having its moment right now. But, I've always said, I got it from my first nutrition I ever saw when I started competing years ago when I was 18. And he told me you can never outwork a bad diet. And he didn't mean a diet of someone eating Oreos. He meant if you're just not feeding yourself properly, I don't care how much time you spend in the gym, you're just not going to make a difference, right? So the number one thing, anyone that I work with, after we get rid of Cokes, of course, and the sodas and the things that are big no-nos, right? We just check our protein grams. How many grams of protein are you getting a day? If you get the adequate amount that we decide you need for your body composition, what you're trying to do, all the rest of the macros fall into place. Because if you're eating that much lean, delicious protein, you really can't eat much else, right? You're not out there eating 2 donuts and 5 pieces of bread because you won't be able to eat all the protein. And that's the number one thing that you do.
Because protein is actually very filling, right? It's very filling and it helps regulate your blood sugar levels so you won't gravitate towards those sweet treats or those carbs. I love how you say everything else falls into place as long as you prioritize protein. So let's give listeners just some ideas of how they can consume that protein.
Well, I'll give you a typical day in my life, okay? That kind of gives you a good idea. My body weighs about 115 pounds. And I eat about 140 to 150 grams of protein a day. Okay. And it sounds like a huge number, but I manage it very well. I do it in about an 8 or 9 hour eating window. And I don't eat 2 or 3 hours before I go to bed typically. I'll start eating around 11 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 or 11. I may have a protein shake that's got 40 grams of protein in it, along with some delicious carbohydrates and other delicious things in it, nutrition wise. My snack may be a high protein yogurt with hemp seed and almonds added to it, right? For lunch, I may have steak, chicken, fish, shrimp. This depends. Now, I already know how much is 30 to 35 grams of protein, but when you don't know these things, you're eating out or you're cooking at home, just use Dr. Google and Google it. How much protein does 12 hard, boiled shrimp have or whatever you're eating, right? If I'm weighing my fish and I've already cooked it, I have 6 ounces of cooked salmon. How many grams of protein is in that? Because you need to understand, most people, when they eat their food, they're really barely getting 30 grams of protein per serving. They're probably getting more like 20 because they're just not realizing if I just had one more scoop, I would be at that 30 gram plus mark, which is what you really need to do. Dr. Line talks about all the time, having at least 30 grams to activate your protein muscle synthesis, right? So every time you eat, you need to be thinking at least 30 grams of protein, no matter what it is, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. It's essential for muscle health so your muscles can grow. And so you have a nice lunch and you make sure you've measured and weighed it out until your brain can remember it. Same thing, maybe a yogurt snack, a protein shake, something like that. And then the same thing with dinner. I'm eating probably 4 to 6 times a day and typically getting between 140 and 150 grams. But I'm consciously doing it. And all my clients the same way. You eat your protein first, the pie on your plate, right? It's got a big pie of protein and a little bit of vegetables, or more vegetables, and a little bit of carbohydrates. You need rice, you need potatoes, you need those things for good burning fuel, but you don't need a lot of them. You need more protein than anything else.
So you're saying 30 grams of protein, that means per meal and so 3 meals a day and maybe with 2 snacks a day. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Every time you put something in your mouth, you need to be thinking, will this all add up to 30 grams at least? No matter what meal you're calling it doesn't matter. Every time you eat this section of food or drink, it must 30 grams of protein.
Yeah. The formula I've heard repeated often is 1 gram of protein per pound of your ideal body weight. Right.
Correct.
You're obviously eating a lot more protein than your body weight. I just want to tell listeners, Kelley is tiny. She's very petite. She's very petite. Yeah. And you are all muscle. You are
I'm trying to put more muscle on. So I'm eating a little bit more protein, right? Now I'm just trying to maintain it. But at the beginning, I was about 47 pounds of muscle. I'm at 55 pounds of muscle, right? I've had 6 kids. I've had all these things go on. I've had 2 C-sections. It's really hard as you age, right? Getting muscle back on. So now I found the formula that works for me as I'm about 55 pounds of muscle. If I eat about 140 to 150 every day, my muscle mass stays basically the same. I'm not losing any muscle. My bone density is strong as a 20-year-old. My body fat is typically 15%, which works perfect for me. Some people like a little more, some people a little bit less. That works. I feel amazing. I've got tons of energy. But if you just want to maintain what you have and your bones are strong, you weigh 120, eat 120 grams, but don't eat less. The problem is most people eat less. Everybody I talk to, everyone tells me I'm a great eater. My diet's perfect. So I'll challenge that. Why don't you write down everything you eat for me, weigh and measure it. Comes back, everyone's typically between 70 and 100 grams of protein. I don't know a lady out there that I work with that weighs 70 to 100 pounds. So you're always in that deficit. You're never actually getting enough to even maintain the muscle that you have. That's really the problem that I see most women and men, to be honest.
So we shouldn't be afraid of eating protein. Eat your weight in protein and build muscle, and you will see your body change over a period of 6 months. You will see the change. I'm sure you see it in your clients.
I do. And the thing is that too, the first couple of weeks of changing this, lifestyle to where I'm not eating as many carbs, I'm eating more protein, your belly does feel kind of full. You feel like, I'm stuffed on this, right? Your body has to make that shift of getting rid of those sugars in your carbohydrates, getting rid of being used to eating that. So no matter what you're doing, when you first change your lifestyle of eating, it's difficult. Maybe for the first month you have issues with it. So don't be discouraged, like, I feel so bloated, I feel this. If you're really eating high quality proteins, which I mean, not a bunch of processed foods, right? Cook your fish, cook your meat, cook your steak, eat it at home, or if you're eating out, do the same thing, have the whole food. Within a couple of weeks, your body will shift over. You will have more energy. You will feel better. You will not feel as bloated, but it does take time to get used to it because you're so used to eating these fast burning carbohydrates, but you're really just storing all that body fat when you do that, not making your muscles.
Yeah. What about the role of supplements, collagen, anything else that you recommend to support muscle building?
My favorite one, Gabriella, I think you and I have talked about this even when I was at your house, is creatine. Creatine is the most studied supplement on the market. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you that. Look it up. It is everywhere. It's been around for years. And now the most recent research they're doing is on Alzheimer and dementia patients about the significant role it's playing in your brain health. Okay. All creatine does when you take it is it helps your muscle tissue hold a little bit more water in there. So when you're exercising, you're a little bit stronger. You're not crazy androgenically stronger. It's a little bit more of a pump. So you're getting a little bit more strength each time. And there's so many benefits now for your brain they're finding out. It's just, And you cannot eat enough steak to get enough. I mean, I get, I'm meat eaters, and I eat a lot of steak myself, but to get 5 grams and have it be absorbed 24/7, I'm just not eating steak 5 times a day, every day of the week. I just don't do it, And so taking that 5 grams religiously every day is how your body absorbs. It takes about 10 days to absorb. And then you're at your saturation point is, 7 to 10 days, they say. And it's just something you just take forever. But my favorite supplement for anyone, no matter your age, even if you're not seriously weight training, it's really good for your brain health. And that's a big thing right now in our country, right? And so I think that's really important that you take some supplementations that have multi-purpose to them. And creatine is one of those.
Okay. And you would do it even on days when you're not weight training. Just do it
It has
daily.
nothing to do with weight training, because if you take it every day, it builds up. You take it one day, don't take it the next, it doesn't do anything. It takes at least 7 to 10 days to absorb fully in your body to get the benefit. So to take it one day, don't take it for 3 days, take it another day, you're never getting the full benefit of it, right? Can't take too much of it because you're just going to urinate it out, right? It just doesn't go anywhere. But you have to have a certain saturation level in your muscle tissue. So when you're working out, it makes a difference, like you notice.
Okay, that's great. Because I had not realized that it was so important to just keep it on a continual basis.
Yes.
Wonderful. And then what about hydration? Talk to us about hydration, how important that is.
Well, every morning I take my hydration, my creatine, and my glutamate in my drink of water every morning. So hydration, especially as we age, if you can, in your mind's eye, think about when you see in a nursing home, what do you see? People are barely eating, they're humped over, they're pale, their skin is dry, they don't like to drink and eat. They're just not active people, right? Hydration, as we age, we just aren't as thirsty. And I don't know what the science is behind it, but everyone that I work with tells me the exact same thing. Maybe they're thirsty during their heavy workouts, but they're just not sitting drinking, pounding water all day. They don't think about it. But it's the number one thing. I mean, your body is what, 70%, 65% water? So you need water. Your urine needs to be clear. Like you need to be paying attention. When you're not feeling well, you have headaches all the time, you're fatigued all the time, I bet you're dehydrated. I bet you're not getting enough quality water. I take Element, which is a hydration supplement, just, magnesium, potassium, salt, nothing else. The thing is that there's many on the market that you can take. You just find one with no sugar in it. And if you're salt sensitive, you can find some that have less salt in it, maybe 500 milligrams versus the one I take, I think has 1,000 or 1,100 milligrams. Doesn't affect me, but some people I think it will. And just find one that you like and just do it every day, just religiously. It really helps your cells hold on to the water that you do drink. But there's a formula in the Merck manual, about how much water you should drink. I tell everyone generally need to be at least 90 ounces of water a day, if not a little bit more, 90 to 120. I mean, your urine needs to be clear all the time. That's my litmus for my clients. Is your urine clear? Then you're probably hydrated enough.
Great.
Most people tell me, no, it's bright yellow. I'm like, what?
Great. Well, yeah. So keeping that bottled water, that, container of water next to you every time, refilling it.
Measuring it.
Yeah.
That's how you keep yourself honest with, am I really staying true to myself? Measure, weigh. That's how you know for sure what's really happening until you get used to it in a habit, right? You have to weigh and measure things.
Yeah. Just filling up. I always fill up to a 2-liter bottle or 2-liter pitcher of water, or 2 1-liter pitchers, and just keep them on my desk all day long or in my kitchen. I take them around, just make sure that I'm drinking that by the end of the day. So
that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. So one other thing, recovery and preventing burnout. I know sometimes when we start a fitness program, we can feel so sore and that can turn us away from I'm never doing this again, and can be quite unmotivating when you're constantly feeling sore. Recovery is such an important piece of the strength training puzzle. What are your top recommendations for effective recovery?
Well, first, I want to say I love for you to get sore when you work out, but I don't want you to be so debilitated sore that you hate it. That makes you a little bit overtrained, which is fine. You learn and don't do it again. The thing is that recovery, I love a good massage. Okay. Most people love a good massage of some kind. I love if you are taking long walks and really being mindful of your walks, stretching out your hips when you're walking, taking slow steps, using your whole foot when you walk. That's a great recovery, not just slapping when you're walking, right? Being mindful of your body when you're walking. I love yoga. I love mobility stretch, a foam roller. different size bands, different strengths of bands. Stretching routine, even the basic 15-minute stretching every single morning can really alleviate a lot of hip issues, back issues, neck issues. Just doing it on a regular basis so you don't get burned out. And that's why I also say, hitting the gym 5 days a week, 7 days a week might be too much. Take one day and go to a different studio that does yoga somewhere outside of your gym if that's what you're doing. Or maybe, take a recovery class here in Houston. We have something called Stretch Lab. Go there once a week. Don't just stay in your same environment, break it up. And also, I think that people need to accept that it's okay to have a day off and just do some mobility work. That is work in itself. You're not quitting. You're not I didn't do a workout. That is, if you're doing it right, rolling on your foam roller, using your bands to stretch your hips or your IT, whatever your issues, your main issues may be, that is work. Finding a great physical therapist, we've got a lot in here in Houston that do just a lot of mobility work on people. They don't need a script. You just go in and pay them cash, right? I'm sure in Austin, you guys have it too. Where you can find a good therapist that can take you through a good stretching mobility routine. Maybe once every 2 weeks, you do that with them. Just changing it up and being committed to doing that. As we age, gravity's trying to push us under the ground. So we need to really stretch all the things in the front of our body and strengthen all the things in the back so we can stay upright. And we need help doing that sometimes.
Yeah. Delegate someone else to help you with it. Yeah, I like that. I just had Dr. Narina Ramlakhan on the show, a sleep expert, and she spoke about the importance of sleep to help us recover from a full day of work. I imagine it's the same from strength training and fitness training.
I think that it is one of the best things you can do as far as recovery goes. And that's a daily recovery routine, right? Is to have a great sleep hygiene routine. And if you don't know what that is, there's a million on the internet. There's a million different books. Pick things that work for you. Number one, getting rid of your phone at night, all these things. I've been using my Aura Ring now, probably it's almost been 3 years. And it really, really, really helped me, the data, to get my sleep under control. I know what works for me. I know what doesn't work for me. And sleep is critical. Clients will call me and say, I was up till 2 a.m. I'm like, do not come to the gym today. Do some mobility work. I'll see you tomorrow. Because if you are not well rested, your risk of injury is very high. You're not going to give your full effort. You could make you ill, could make you feel worse because you're sleep deprived. Your body needs sleep, especially in midlife. I think Peter Attias is one of the top 3 things that he recommends to all patients. Get that under control immediately before you do anything else.
Excellent. Yeah, for sure. That's something that I've definitely been dialing in with my fitness because I feel like if I've had a good workout, I'm feeling tired, not like exhausted, but tired towards the end of the day. My body's saying, it's saying, you need to rest, go to bed early. So I feel the more that I stick to my fitness and strength training and make a concerted effort to do that, my body naturally wants to rest and to go to sleep earlier. That sleep is so, so important. So we're coming to the end of our conversation. There's so many things that we could keep talking about in terms of really keeping on track. If someone is listening and feeling like it's too late, I hear that a lot. It's too late to get started with fitness and midlife. What would you say to inspire them?
To be honest, it's never too late. It's such a cliche thing to say, but it's really never too late unless you're already put in the ground. Find one thing today that you want to do and just go do it. Just one thing. Don't get overwhelmed by all the choices and the options. Maybe you always like to dance. Find a dance class and go take it. Don't overthink it. Don't be like, I must be lifting weights. I must do this. Find one thing that you enjoy and that you'll stick to and just do that. That will make such a difference in your life and in your motivation. And that will just be a small win for you. And then it's easy to build upon those small wins. Very easy. It's never, trust me, never too late for anyone to start something.
Absolutely. And then in terms of just creating and maintaining those sustainable fitness habits that last well beyond the new year, what piece of advice can you give us for that?
That's also just, the consistency piece. Consistency and honoring your body on the days maybe you don't feel well or something's happened, being able to shift your schedule, right? Being fluid with your intention, like we talked about earlier. Just keep going. Even on the days it's kind of and some days are going to be awesome. Just be consistent with your health because there's nothing more important. You can't get it back. You can't get those days back. So just start from today and move forward. more consistent you are, the better habits you're going to have. It's going to be much easier. And pick the little wins, Gabriella. Pick the little thing. Don't try to pick the biggest thing out there because all your friends are doing it. Who cares? Honor your body, honor what you can do, and move forward piece by piece.
Thank you so much, Kelley, for sharing your wisdom and your encouragement with us today. To our listeners, if you feel like you've fallen off track, let this be your sign to start fresh. I always say you can always start again, whether it's adjusting your goals or intentions, finding your why, or simply showing up for yourself and meeting yourself where you are in small ways is so, so key. Tell us, Kelley, how can our listeners connect with you?
So you can find me on Instagram very easily, Kelley Moves. Also, I have a website, also kelleymoves.com. Easy to connect to me in both those places. That's really where I'm at most of the time.
Great. I'll put that all in the show notes. So be sure to check out the show notes for resources and ways to connect with Kelley. And remember, everyone, it's not about perfection. It's about small wins that allow you to make progress. And until next time, here's to prioritizing your pleasure and power one step at a time. Thank you so much, Kelley.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Pleasure in the Pause. Want to help me spread more pleasure in the world? Hit the share episode button and send it to a friend or post it on your Instagram stories and tag me, Gabriella Espinosa. And if you really love this podcast, please leave a rating or review, as this helps the show get in front of new listeners. Finally, if you would like to access even more pleasure and stay in touch, sign up for my free pleasure upgrade bundle of powerful mind-body practices by going to pleasureinthepause.com. Remember, your pleasure matters.